What's up, my guys? Hey, today I want to do something a little bit different with y'all. We're going to take the clocks, we're going to rewind them back to the year 1996, and we're going to grade the most infamous WCW pay-per-view of all time. That's right, I'm talking about Bash at the Beach. And for those of y'all that know, y'all know it went down that night. And for those of y'all that have maybe forgotten or a little bit unfamiliar, just know that this was the greatest heel turn of all time in professional wrestling. So, welcome everybody to the first episode of the Retro Report Card. Hey, I do look to keep this as an ongoing series. So for my next episode, how I'm going to pick the pay-per-view is I want you guys to comment your birthday with the year in the section below. I'm going to scroll through, pick one of the comments, and for my next episode, I'm going to pick the pay-per-view that is after that person's first birthday. So without further ado, let's get into grading. So our first match of the night, man, we got ReyMysterio. He's taking on Psychosis. So check this. These two guys wrestled in Mexico, got on a plane, flew to Daytona, then put on their match at Bash at the Beach, all within under 24 hours, and it was still a banger. Hey, and check this too. ReyMysterio was only 21 years old during this match. And if you've never seen young ReyMysterio before, you need to go check him out. And man, was he going crazy. He was hitting Hurricane Ranas, he was hitting twisted moonsaults, he was hitting Frankensteiners off the ropes, he hit Frankensteiners off the ring post, he hit them off the apron, hell, he even hit one off your mama's forehead. Hey, and at Psychosis, he ain't no slouch neither. And as he was going for his finisher Splash Mountain though, ReyMysterio countered with the 37th Hurricane Rana of the match, and that was enough to get him down. He got the 1, 2, 3, and he got the big win over Psychosis. Hey, if I'm going to sit here and grade this match, I'm giving it an A. Like, these two cats were way ahead of their prime. So next up, we got the 500-pound Avalanche. He's taking on the 350-pound Big Boss Man in a silver dollar and a sock on a pole match. Yes, you heard that right. Number one, WCW. What was the point of this match? And number two, even if there was a point, both of these dudes are behemoths. How'd you expect either one of them to climb this pole? I mean, that thing was 10 feet up in the air. And even though WCW didn't realize it, both of these dudes attempted it, and they're like, yeah, we're not getting up there. So Big Boss Man, he then sends his manager, Jimmy Hart, to retrieve it. Well, as Jimmy Hart was doing that, Avalanche had already KO'd Big Boss Man. When Jimmy came back down, Avalanche obviously KO'd him, and that should have been the end of the match because Avalanche had the silver dollars in the sock. But no, he then had to cover Big Boss Man and get the 1, 2, 3, and then the match was over. Like, that made zero sense. If I'm gonna sit here and grade it, I'm giving it a D-. Like Eric Bischoff, what in the hell were you smoking back then? And could you hook me up with something? Now, if you thought this was the last time WCW was going to have a stipulation match that didn't even matter by the end of the match, you thought wrong. Because next up, we had DDP taking on Hacksaw Jim Duggan in a taped fist match. Well, Cody, what's a taped fist match? It's a regular-ass wrestling match. The only difference is both guys had to have their fists taped, which didn't even matter at the end of the match because Hacksaw's tape had fallen off his hand completely, and they still let DDP hit the diamond cutter for the 1, 2, 3 and the win. If I'm going to sit here and grade this, I'm going to give it a D+. The only reason it's better is because it was under 10 minutes and Bobby Heenan was hilarious on commentary. Next up, you got the Nasty Boys taking on Public Enemy in a tag team dog collar match. That means both guys from each team is attached via dog collar and a chain to the other guy. And in this match, we saw guys get hit with inner tubes, with surfboards, with shark inflatables. And it sounded like good and fun, but honestly, this match was anything but. It was really slow, it was pretty long, and these cats botched every single table spot in the match. And then we get to the end, and for the third time tonight, WCW had a stipulation that didn't even matter at the end of the match because one of the guy's dog collars fell off around his neck, and then to get the win, the Nasty Boys clothesline Rocco from Public Enemy. They made a sloppy cover, and the Nasty Boys got the 1, 2, 3 and the win. If I'm gonna grade this, I'm giving it an F. Like, seriously, this is the third match in a row where the stipulation didn't even matter because they still called the pin. Come on, man. 26 years ago, that still has me hot. Well, next up, we get our first match since the first match of the night that we don't have a stipulation. Yeah, we got the Cruiserweight title on the line. You got Dean Malenko, the champ. He's taking on Disco Inferno. And honestly, other than a few bursts of offense by Disco, Dean Malenko basically whooped this man's ass for 10 straight minutes, applied the cloverleaf submission, made him tap out, and he got the win. If I'm going to sit here and grade that, I'm going to give it a C+. Like, there's no such thing as a bad Dean Malenko match, but you could have told me that this never happened, and I'd honestly believe you. And then we transition from that into our next match. We got Big Mongo. He's taking on Joe Gomez. Now, this was just a match between two big old son bitches trying to see who the bigger son bitch is. All right? Hey, and I'm not going to lie, for being a match between two big guys, especially in the 90s, this wasn't that bad, man. After a while, these two guys were trading blows, though. Big Mongo, he lifts up Joe Gomez. He hits him with the tombstone pile driver. He gets the 1, 2, 3 and the win. And if I'm going to sit here and grade this one, I'm going to give it a C+. Next up, we got the U.S. title on the line. That's right, you got the champion, woo! Ric Flair, he's taking on the challenger, Konnan. And Ric Flair showed up to the ring in typical Nature Boy fashion. He had a lady on each side of him. And let's be real, those ladies weren't just there for looks. They was getting involved as well. Like at one point, they had kicked Konnan in the genitals. They even hit this man over the head with their high heel shoe. And you know Ric Flair's going to take advantage of all that. He's the dirtiest player in the game, baby. Well, after the shoe shot, while the ref was distracted, Ric Flair had rolled up Konnan. Ref turns around, but they don't see Ric Flair's feet on the ropes to give him more leverage. So Ric Flair gets the 1, 2, 3. He gets the win. And if I'm going to sit here and grade this match, I'm going to give it a B-. Like, it was really entertaining, but they overdid those interferences just a little bit too much in this match. And so remember, throughout this whole pay-per-view, you've got Scott Hall, rest in peace, and Kevin Nash just came to WCW from WWE. And they had said the whole night, hey, we're going to have a third teammate, and then we're going to become this faction, and we're going to take over WCW. Well, before that, we got to get into our co-main event. You've got Chris Benoit and Arn Anderson. They're taking on Kevin Sullivan and the Giant, a.k.a. The Big Show. Well, in the beginning of the match, Benoit and Double A, they did a great job of keeping Sullivan in their corner from tagging in the Giant. But eventually, the big guy got in. The Giant came in. He made quick work of Double A. He hit him with the choke slam. He got the 1, 2, 3 and the win. Hey, if I'm going to sit here and grade this, I'm going to give it a C. Like, the match wasn't terrible, but Sullivan did have a few botches throughout this match. But now it's time for the long-awaited main event. That's right, you got the Macho Man Randy Savage, you got Lex Luger, you got Sting, and they're taking on Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and their mystery opponent. Well, before the match, Hall and Nash let the crowd know, like, hey, we don't even need our third opponent. We're going to take these guys out by ourselves. And it starts going in their favor because when Sting went to hit the Stinger Splash in his own corner, he missed, collided with Lex Luger, who took a nasty fall, and he had to be escorted out of the stadium. So now it's 2-on-2. And Scott Hall and Nash, they did a great job of keeping the Macho Man out the match. But once he did get in the match, you know how Macho Man Randy Savage is. He started just going wild. But after a while, he ended up getting hit with a low blow. And now we're down to 2-on-1. And as they're jumping Sting and Macho Man's laying there lifeless, thank God Hulk Hogan comes down to make the save. But just as it looks like he's about to go save Sting, he turns around, he hits the leg drop on the Macho Man, and that's right, the Hulk is the mystery third partner, and that means, yes, the NWO is born. Hey, this ended by the crowd throwing trash onto the ring at these guys. Like, this literally set that crowd on fire. If I'm going to sit here and grade this, I'm giving it an A+. Again, this is the greatest heel turn in professional wrestling, and this ultimately saved Hulk Hogan's career. Well, that wraps up our first episode of the Retro Report Card. Let me know what y'all think about it. Well, without further ado, it's still the same drill. We got the grades in. Now let's take a look at the report card. After tallying everything up, we came out with a final letter grade of a C. That's right, a 77%. Hey, this pay-per-view had some high points, but it definitely had some low points too. Ended up balancing her out right there in the middle. Hey, once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to comment your birthdays to see which episode I do that next. Other than that, everybody be safe and have a nice day.